coming of the British. In the ancient times, Indian spices, pearls, silk, gold, etc. were very popular in many countries of the world. Many of them had good trade relations with India. In 1498, Vasco da Gama, an explorer from Portugal, discovered a direct sea route from Europe to India by sailing around Africa. Look at the map given here to understand his route. The Portuguese landed at Calicut, now called Kozhikode, in Kerala and started trade in spices. The Dutch, the English and the French followed and set up their own trading centers. To control the trade in India and earn more profits, traders soon started fighting amongst themselves. The East India Company. British East India Company was established in 1600 by the British traders. In this book, when we talk of the East India Company, we mean only the British East India Company. Gradually, the East India Company acquired much trade from India and became rich. They defeated their other European rivals. The Battle of Plassey was won by the East India Company in 1757. Victory in this battle cleared the way for the British to establish their rule over India. Let us look at a few events leading to the Battle of Plassey. The Battle of Plassey. Bengal was then a rich state. The East India Company wanted control over this state first. Without the permission of Siraj-ud-Dowla, the Nawab ruler of Bengal, the East India Company started to maintain its own army at Calcutta, now Kolkata. The Nawab declared war on the East India Company but was defeated due to the treachery of his own general Mir Zafar at the Battle of Plassey in 1757. A few years later, in 1764, the East India Company won the Battle of Buxar. Bengal was now under total British control. This was the beginning of the British rule in India. The East India Company took advantage of the lack of unity amongst the Indian rulers. They gradually defeated the Dutch, Portuguese, and French East India Companies and also the local rulers and established total control over the whole country. Discontentment among Indians. The British started exploiting the people once they started ruling in different parts of India. India was a source of cheap raw materials for their factories in Britain. It also provided a huge market for factory-made goods produced in Britain. The Indian farmers were forced to grow cash crops like indigo and cotton instead of producing food crops. They bought the cash crops at very low price and sent the crops as raw materials to the factories in England. As a result, the poor farmers grew even poorer and many farmers died of starvation. Indian traders also suffered because they were not allowed to open factories and mills. Also, they were not allowed to trade in things of their choice. The British sold their machine-made goods in India at a cheaper rate. This affected the life of the Indian craftsmen who used to weave cloth by hand on looms. They could not compete with the prices of the British mill-made cloth. Millions of weavers lost their jobs. The East India Company also made new laws that helped them to take control of more and more areas in the country. The Revolt of 1857. Unjust rule of the East India Company in India created unrest among the people of all sections of the society. Almost all sections of the society, the farmers, traders, soldiers, and rulers were unhappy with the unfair British rule. Over the years, there were many causes that led to the revolt of 1857. One important cause, however, was the use of the Enfield rifle, a kind of gun in the British Army. The British Army in India had both Hindu and Muslim soldiers. The Indian soldiers were called sepoys. The soldiers were asked to use the Enfield rifle, which used a cartridge that had to be torn open using the teeth. It was rumored that beef and pig tallow fat was used to grease the cartridge. Since beef is forbidden for the Hindus and pig is forbidden for the Muslims, the sepoys rather revolted than used the cartridge. This led to a revolt. This is known in history as the Revolt of 1857 or the First War of Independence. The revolt began at Meerut and soon spread to other parts of northern and central India. After defeating their officers, the angry sepoys marched to Delhi. At that time, Bahadur Shah Zafar was the Mughal emperor, but had no real power. The Indians wanted Bahadur Shah Zafar to declare himself as the emperor of India. Other Indian rulers and popular leaders such as Rani Lakshmi Bai, Nana Sahib, Tatia Tope, Maulvi Ahmadullah, Rao Tularam and Kumar Singh also joined the revolt. The British suppressed the revolt forcefully in just 1 year. There were many reasons for the failure of the revolt. It was not planned and did not spread to all parts of India. There was little unity amongst the rebels, and many sepoys as well as many Indian rulers actually sided with the British. The British soldiers had better arms and supplies. They were also better trained. Though the revolt ended within a year, yet it resulted in many changes. The British government in Britain put an end to the East India Company and took charge directly. Queen Victoria was declared the Empress of India. Indian princes were allowed to rule over their kingdoms, but they were in turn controlled by a viceroy who was appointed by the Queen. Social reforms. Many educated Indians believed that the prevailing social evils were the main cause of poor conditions of the country. They started movement for many social and religious reforms. Some important social reformers were Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Maharshi Debendranath Tagore and Dayanand Saraswati. They spoke out against social evils such as the practice of child marriage, sati and the caste system. They also encouraged the education of women.